Good afternoon. Welcome back to Three Swords Gaming. I'm glad you're back. Or if you're not back, then I'm talking to myself, which is unfortunate. Under any circumstances, we are going to continue our Guild Wars 2 personal story playthrough. And before we go speak to Priory Scout Hior, I wanted to start next to one of these mirrors. So, by no stretch of the imagination am I the first person to mention the mirrors. Like, this is a well-known thing, and in fact, it's been nerfed since the initial launch. But what I've noticed is the nerf is particularly impactful if you're trying to do, like, everything, right? If you're trying to go around and gather all the chests associated with all the mirrors. If you just park a few alts next to a few mirrors, they are still tremendously profitable. So, oh, well, now I'm going to have to get that other one. There we go. So we should see, like, several rares and several greens. Let's see here. Yeah, that's not bad for something that was supposedly nerfed. Well, we got a bunch of stuff in our inventory, so it's kind of hard to see the impact of that. But you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, like, not too shabby of a haul. And while I think, like, the overall effect of going after all the chests and trying to, like, chain all the chests and getting like the map participation currency, like a little sword that appears down here, and it's like, oh, you've done a variety of maps. See, here's one of the chests, small obscure chest, which I wouldn't be able to open anyway because I don't have that. It's going to tell me that. I'm going to try and open it. And it's going to say down here in the chat, which you can't see because I have it covered, you need 3 ethereal key charges to open this, right? So, like, the ethereal key charges and stuff, a lot of that got nerfed. It used to be that doing the mirror itself gave you those charges, so then you could subsequently open chests just from doing the mirror and so forth. They've throttled that back. But the mirrors themselves, still just like a veritable gold mine if you just park a couple ults at them and just do the mirror itself. Each day with just a handful of alts, you're still going to see some income for, like, a completely irrelevant use of your time, like or not irrelevant, but like in inconsequential amount of time, right? Mirror moments. I have 9 alts parked by mirrors, or 8 alts parked by mirrors, and the total time for all those alts is probably like 2.5 minutes for, like, somewhere in the ballpark of 20 some odd rares plus the rest. So was 20 some odd rares, like 8 gold. So now I'm not selling it. That's a different matter. Another conversation for another time. But the point is, a lot of returns for very little time. Just figured it was worth mentioning. Okay. So when we last left off, we had discovered, we had met well, here, you know what? Let's make this easy. When we last left off, we were trying to learn more about Seb's creatures. We gathered brains, right? And we had met Vloxx, of course. That was the big deal, right? We met the director. I think that was 2 videos ago we met the director. And I'm really excited what they're going to do with that. At the same time, I don't want them to, like, drop the ball, right? And I went on and on about that in a previous video. I'm not going to go on about it now. But we've met the director, and Saida and Canuck and Rytlock are all very much at odds on how they approach that. We did a number of events, and we left off with, hey, we need to talk to Isgarin. It's high time that he be forthcoming. And we're going to spend a lot of this video, and probably the next as well, probably basically the remaining videos of Visions of the initial launch of Visions of Eternity, kind of discussing Isgarin and, like, where he figures into things now. Right now, our current task, talk to Priory Scout Hior. Hior, which rhymes with Eeyore. Are you grouchy?
I caught a glimpse of him heading off to the west a few hours ago. Didn't stop by camp first or anything.
Well, that's the best lead I've had in a while. Thank you.
Ha. I actually picked a weird place to leave off, I guess, because that had almost no context at all. So obviously Hior is talking about Isgarin. We need to talk to Isgarin. It's high time that we find out what is up. And it looks like the meta event is up. I did not intentionally join a meta map. Yeah, 0 progress. Um, so, and I have no intentions of like, wait, oh, it's above. Of like joining into a failing meta. So we're gonna try and bypass that and see if we can. For a moment, we're gonna grab a couple hero points because they're right here. And I don't think on this character I've actually quite got to Gale Shot yet, although I could be mistaken. So we might as well make a little use of our time. The reason that I'm burning a tiny bit of time, and I don't know that I'm going to burn the entire 7 minutes 35 seconds we got left in the meta, is because I don't know how the meta, I don't know where the starting point is for this. Let's see. Yeah, so just green circle, which happens to have the entire meta taking place inside of it. And I'm a little concerned that the meta is going to make it difficult for us to explore. So the task we got, Consecrated Piazza Explored, and I feel like I'm going to be contending with the meta on that. So I'm going to mitigate some of that by doing a few hero points real quick. This is probably actually the hero point that kills the most people in this expansion. Simply because this dude, he's not that bad. But when he dies, that AoE right there, if you get hit by it, will pretty darn close to one-shot you. And that's bad. So, yeah. Seen more than a couple folks with 600 plus mastery points laying there trying to revive when I've come across that hero point. Because, of course, I've done that hero point 85, 90 times now. Going across a variety of accounts and unlocking the new elite specs on a variety of characters. My main account has every character slot full, and I think that's somewhere in the ballpark of 75 or so characters now. And then I don't have the expansion on every alt account, but a couple other alt accounts I've done a few hero points, so including this one, where on this account I have now done that hero point 3 or 4 times. None of that has anything to do with anything. I think we got, what do we got, 5.5 minutes left. We're just going to have to try and kind of navigate around. And I'm wondering if I need the skimmer for this, but I really don't recall. Looks like maybe I don't. That was just right there for me to look at. Alright, the battered remains of an inquest golem lie in a pile on the forest floor. Something here did not take kindly to its presence. Was this his Garin, or was it something else? I suppose we'll find out, won't we? Ancient door. And there's a mastery point behind this door. As far as I know, to get that mastery point, you have to do the meta. Which is interesting. Magic hums across the surface of the door, sealing it tightly. It is unclear if it's meant to keep intruders from entering, or keep something within from escaping. Well, I doubt he went this way. Why do we doubt he went that way? I mean, it would be a very Asgarn thing to do. So you can actually see the mastery in sight hanging out right back there with Gweldel. It's weird that they would put a mastery point behind the meta when the meta itself gives a mastery point the first time you complete it. But, you know, what do I know? Like, I don't design video games. Alright, toppled statue.
Castora really is an awe-inspiring place.
Are we going to be able to fight these guys without getting rid of the dialogue box here? Yeah, I think so. And, of course, we're drawing Inquest aggro as well. The statue stares up at you defiantly, despite being mostly buried. The face is carved indistinctly enough that you suspect this statue represented a concept, not a specific seer. Okay. Dig around for clues about the statue. You find a damaged inscription on the statue. All that's legible is the phrase Watcher of the Stars. Cool. Now I can try not to die. What do we got? 3.5 minutes left on this meta event before I get to do the rest of this with less trouble. We still got... Ooh, we found 3. We still probably got like 7 more. So they actually... This meta, which I don't intend to do as part of the playthrough, they do a really cool thing where this picks up into the air, this entire disc here, and then at the end of the meta, this entire disc sinks down into the ground, and there's stuff underneath there. Pretty cool. A lot of fun. The meta, I'm not saying the meta itself is fun. The meta itself is fine, but that sight is pretty cool. All right, artifact crate. Judging by the nearby corpses, it appears that the inquest stole this crate from the Priory, then met their end when they tried to touch the objects within. Must not have realized they were warded by the Seers. Well, now I want to touch them. We got a key and a book. And we're just going to leave those. They were powerful enough that when the inquest touched them, they died. And we're just going to leave them there for someone else to find. Good job, Commander. Alright. Inquest Magimeter. So I assume... I mean, the name would imply it measures, like, magical output, I guess? Sure. Why not? For a minute I thought it was magnetometer, which is a real thing. But no, this is just magimeter, magameter. This small Asuran instrument pulses and flickers in time with the movements of nearby pools of seer magic. They're tracking sources of magic, but to what ends? I don't know, Commander. Your guess is as good as mine. How about sky scale? Maybe we can avoid some of the shenanigans by flying overhead. Although I think there are parts of this meta that actually turns off your mount. So we need to be mindful of that also. That's not actually part of what we're doing. I was just kind of curious. Okay. Inquest audio log box.
Destroy this message immediately when you read it. I can't stress that enough. You could get us both killed, or worse. You need to try to get reassigned. Use whatever excuse you need to, but do it quickly. I overheard Sem talking. He's going to try to control the Seneschal, like one of his pets.
We heal
Whether
as
he
one.
succeeds or fails, it's bad news for anyone around there at the time. Get away while you still can.
So I actually like that. I think that's pretty cool. This is not the first time that they've used like audio logs to advance story. They did it quite a bit in End of Dragons, both in the first map and the third map. I can't remember the name of either of those maps right now.
We need to fall back until we have reinforcements.
Time to do some.
Okay, that's unrelated to the story. That is related to the meta event. But yes, they use audio logs a couple times to impart story in End of Dragons. It's not a bad approach, especially when they do it like that. And when I say do it like that, I mean provide context instead of just delivering straight exposition through the audio logs, which they did a good job of in End of Dragons too. I don't recall a time where they ever just plain delivered exposition through an audio log. Like it was, they might have come, Saitung, that's the name of the first map. They might have come a little closer to that in Saitung, where they kind of almost delivered straight exposition, but here, like, much better at, like, it being, like, a contextual, a little bit more subtle. So, Shadowstone. This piece of inert Shadowstone is chipped. Its edges sharp and jagged like glass. I wonder how large the original piece was. That's a weird thing to wonder, Commander. Like, of all the things that we should maybe be concerned about right now, how big the Shadowstone was doesn't seem like the highest priority. But okay. Eroded statue. So here we at least have an intact statue.
Some interesting clues. That's still not what I need.
The statue is labeled the Balance of Souls, and each of the 4 hands holds an object of symbolic significance. Unfortunately, the pattern isn't immediately clear.
Feel the fury.
Maybe the orb on the left represents a soul weighed down by the dagger. The statue is unmoved by your speculation. Whatever mysteries it holds, it's not giving them up. Yeah, I don't... That actually is odd to me. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it was meant to be charming or clever or whatever, but no, of course the statue does not care about our speculation. Like, that's stupid. Okay, we have a couple more to find.
There's so much wild magic here, and it's so closely entwined with the wildlife as well. I need to get samples for closer study before they're diluted.
So we've
by our
actually
presence here.
covered
I'd appreciate any
a
amount
majority of
Your
the
skin
green
would be
circle.
outfit for it now.
So we can go high, although I doubt they put anything particularly high. Part of the reason I doubt they put anything particularly high is because the mount associated with this expansion is the skimmer, which probably can get up here using some of the nearby ley lines and stuff, but would not know. Oh, another mirror. I didn't know there was one up here. Actually, I think I did, but I had forgotten. Yeah, nothing up here. So while the skimmer could potentially get up here using the nearby ley lines, it's highly unlikely that anyone will regularly. Like maybe as a novelty, but like that would be a frustrating experience for a lot of players, I think. And generally, they're pretty good about not making stuff from one expansion necessary for another expansion. The one interesting thing about this expansion has been the presence of rifts. Now, I don't know, and to be clear, I genuinely don't know if you need Secrets of the Obscure to do rifts here. I don't know if you needed Secrets of the Obscure to do rifts in Janthier Wilds, to be quite honest. I assume not, because again, they don't like requiring one expansion to do content in another expansion, but no idea. Alright, we found a weathered tome. Can't just say an old book. A weathered tome. Let's check it out. This tome is written in the Seer language, but its condition is too pristine to be from here. Alright, and I believe this is in the tome. We count ourselves among the stars. We do not debase ourselves in worship of the heavens, but aspire to the heavens ourselves. Though not all of us will make it, it is better to fall at the gate of glory than to live mired in the dirt, or live life mired in the dirt. It goes on for pages in the same fashion. I mean, that sounds about right. Okay. I kind of like it, though, right? I kind of like that whole, the concept there. Disenchanted sword. And I believe that skin actually is available to the players. Like, there is a weapon set where that is the skin available. Which is a good looking skin, honestly.
Something has really stirred up the magic over there. Seems like as good of a lead as I'm gonna get.
I guess, Commander. This enchanted seer weapon lies on the ground, unmoving but still faintly glowing with magic. Did Isgarin dispatch this, or was it the inquest? Commander is full of questions. Okay, magical agitation. So, before we get to the magical agitation, I have a letter. And I was going to wait till I was recording to check it. I think it's just like the current event, like a PvP event, but let's make sure. No, strange artifact. Hyberis Mythseeker. Commander, I've recovered an artifact that is acting very strangely when exposed to different kinds of magic. I've got a favor to ask of you that might help figure out what's going on. Come find me when you can. I'm at Derman Priory's camp in Starlit Weald. So I assume that's one of the kind of side stories, which I'm not going to do on video, but is interesting. Okay, the magical agitation. I'll probably do that on my main account, to be honest.
What could have done this? I haven't seen it this agitated anywhere else on Castora.
What does agitated magic look like? Like, we're almost attributing, like, magical energy with a, like, borderline sentience, almost? Although I suppose you could agitate the surface of water, so maybe it's something like that.
The magic here is definitely reacting to something. Or to someone.
Oh, ominous. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's someone. Alright, so we got like an abandoned Inquest encampment. So that's the Inquest symbol, right? Season 4, they had like a fun mini puzzle with that symbol. I thought it was actually a really, really good mini puzzle, to be honest. Thought it was well done. We've got a cursed artifact over here. Can we see it well? It's like a document inside of a frame. Wait, what? What's attacking me? Oh, an enchanted staff.
I'll break
Okay.
you down. They'll have to hit much harder.
I did not remember that that was an issue here. Apparently it is. I still want to see the cursor. Oh. Oh. I have to break free before it transports me. I had completely forgotten about that.
Doing that one for days.
Undoubtedly, I did the same stupid thing. What is this guy? Ah, friendly cave spider. Undoubtedly, I did the same stupid thing on my main account when playing through here, and I had simply forgotten that that happens. Let's continue with the magical agitation, shall we? Enter the ruined nave of, what was it, the Basilica? I think that was it. Disappeared before I was done reading it. Oh, look. It's our buddy Isgarin. Thought there was something else to see over here, too. Oh, interestingly, he's actually... Actually, are we in an instance? We're not. We're in the map, so that's why he is here. Because he is normally here. He has an event associated with him, which he's unwilling to talk about right now. There's another sort of pseudo meta event that takes place here where we follow Isgarin down into the basement down here, which we will also do in the story. A little bit of a spoiler there. We'll do in the story here before too much longer. And it is necessary to get some of these POIs and stuff. And also, I think that mastery point is accessed through there as well. Alright, Isgarin.
Isgarin, I've been looking for you.
Ooh, Commander sounds angry.
Ah, Wayfinder, good. I would welcome some assistance.
I found him. Finally. We're at the entrance to the temple.
The other two are off on some nonsense. But I'll be there soon.
You've been gone for a while. There's a lot we need to discuss.
There will be time for that. But I'm on the trail of something, so discussion will have to be tabled for now.
I like how Isgarin just like completely blows us off. I actually do, by the way. So there's a lot of conversation to be had about Isgarin, and I think I'm gonna table that for a second lot. Let's engage that after this instance, I think, because I do want to talk about it. I think there's a lot to talk about, but I want to do it at the right point in the story. So, all right, Isgarin, what's up, buddy? Buddy, not buddy. Oh, and there's Rytlock. He did show up, just as he said he would.
Indeed. A sacred temple of my people built in better times. No outsider has ever set foot within before now.
Don't think that's true. We didn't get here first.
Then let's get inside and get some answers before it's too late.
I should point out really quick, while the like tearing with like the galaxy type stuff in the background is a little odd, aesthetically I like it. It's a cool touch. I like their use of that, which is essentially I think the same or a very similar sort of appearance as Twilight, or maybe Astralaria, because Twilight's like blacker. This is very blue, so maybe Astralaria is essentially that when you look into the axe, which is cool. Astralaria is my second favorite legendary. Open the door. With Binding of
Looks like
E-Posts
they
being
left
my
some
favorite
kind
favorite.
to guard the place.
Indeed. Indeed it does, Rytlock. You gonna help me, or... Oh, Inquest guards. Not, the enchanted weapons.
Unlikely to be the last resistance we face. Let's get moving while we have a window.
Don't rush me, Rytlock. Like, the door wasn't even interactable until you finished talking. I assume that's a trap?
Ah, so it appears the defenses are still active. Not at full strength, clearly, or you would not have survived.
How lucky. Best we move carefully then.
Best we move carefully. I want that journal. I want to read it. This is it. This is the job we've been waiting for. Instead of stealing coconuts and driftwood from those hull gardeners, we're finally going after a real treasure. All this time being stranded will be worth something, and I'll be headed back to the mainland with a fortune. And these cowardly inquests are letting us lead the way. Sure, we'll get them their artifacts after we've loaded down our bags with the best of the loot. This is going to be my biggest payday ever. So interestingly, on my main account when I played through this the first time, which was a couple weeks ago now, 2 or 3 weeks, and so a lot of this I've kind of actually forgotten about a little bit. On my first playthrough, I did not do these journals. So, since we're progressing through now, and there appears to be achievement associated with it, and it sounds like it's a little bit interesting, let's see if we can find, I believe it said 4 total, so let's see if we can find the other 3 journals. Maybe there's some interesting sort of story here to be had, right? I'm generally, like, kind of... I don't go after every single achievement. More of them what? Oh, more inquest. To which Isgarin said they swarm like flies on a corpse, which is very descriptive, Isgarin. That's really, really good use of your creative writing skills, I guess. I'm a very bad ranger, by the way. I never actually, like, unleash. Here, we'll do it real quick. Because in theory, you should really, like, for most unleash builds, you should regularly switch back and forth between the pet and the ranger being unleashed. I think I'm also interrupting the unleash skill.
Hopefully
The
there'll be
ambush.
answers further in.
I fear you will be disappointed.
Well, that's an obtuse thing to say, Isgarin. Right, which kind of opens the door for, like, the whole conversation about Isgarin. Like, he is never forthcoming about anything. And is clearly hiding something. And that's, I think, more than anything, like, the takeaway here is that Isgarin is clearly hiding something. And that matters, right? Alright, we got another journal sitting, like, right on top of a trap.
More than a token force. Something of value must still be here.
More than a token force where, Rytlock? Are they further down? There's 2 more journals, which both appear to be, like, a real pain. This one says, another wave of them enter, and the screams continue. Horrible, pitiful screams echoing off every wall. And yet more of those freebooters go in, chasing the promise of the treasure that Kuda dangles in front of them. What greed could power them through it? The lucky ones are killed instantly, impaled on spikes or atomized by ancient magic. The unlucky die slowly over hours, wailing in the dark, begging for rescue that will never come, praying for death while it toys with them like a cat. We do our best to ignore the sounds, knowing that if the freebooters fail, it will undoubtedly be us crying helplessly in the uncaring void. Alchemy, what am I doing here? I just wanted to be able to pursue my research without the council and the colleges impeding me at every step. And even now, in the mouth of the abyss, I hate them still. In my first year with the Inquest, I accomplished more than a decade working within their system. So yes, I hate them all the more for not leaving me any choice, for making the Inquest the better option. By the way, I think that's a theme that they're trying to drive home, because that was kind of some of the implications with Vloxx as well, right? Was a similar sentimentality there, or a similar sentiment, I should say. I cling to one foolish hope. The director doesn't approve of Kuda's methods, and her crew speak of it often. Maybe he doesn't know the conditions we're being subjected to. Maybe if I can find some way to inform him, something can still be done. But more likely, my time will soon be up. Let's assume that that poor Inquest is that guy right there. See him? He said that. And then his time was up. And that's sad. Alright. We got another journal down there. We'll have to figure out our approach to that. Looks like the traps are relatively clear right through the middle. We'll come back to the journal. Let's dispatch of all these fine inquests real quick. Or maybe the guy who wrote the journal is one of these guys. You know, it'd be really fun if there was a way to... well, there are ways. There are any number of ways that they could imply that that is in fact the case, right? For example, they could have simply had the journal contain names, and then make a named enemy. Alright, we're at 3 or 4 journals. Another inquest journal. We must be getting close to something big here, because they wouldn't have left so many impediments if they weren't defending something important, that being the Seers, right? The others expressed their doubts, but I've instructed them to press on. It won't be long now. Instructed them to press on. So that inquest, whoever they were, had some degree of authority, right? Was it Kuda? Is Kuda just leaving random notes lying around now?
Didn't expect to find these inside a temple.
Some deaths have more spiritual significance than others.
I mean, okay. That's very thoughtful of you, Asgarn. Okay, are they just going to stand here and let us kind of do our thing? Yeah. Tombs investigated, 0 out of presumably 3. Alright, before we do the tombs, here's the 4th and final journal. Let's give it a read. Inquest journal. I hate it here. I'm going back to Rada Sum at first opportunity. Alright, sorry to hear that. So you know what this reminds me of? The layout of the tombs is almost exactly like Tomb of the Primeval Kings. The only difference being Tomb of the Primeval Kings had 2 tombs here for like Nala and Dajkar, or whatever their names were. The 2 twin sisters. Otherwise, essentially the exact same. I don't think that is like in any way a callback or anything. I think it's simply an artistically convenient, like, you know, symmetrical way of portraying 3 tombs. I mean, they could have easily done 4 with like 1 in each corner. They could have easily, if they want to do 3, do 1 there, and 1 there. Like, they had a lot of options. They chose to do the same thing twice. But again, there's some pleasing symmetry to it, so, you know, whatever. Alright, tomb number 1. That being the... I guess this is the East tomb? The commander says, That's what we got from that tomb. Alright, well, what about the West tomb? I bet the commander says, huh.
The inscription is too worn to be legible.
Oh, we got a little bit more that time. Alright, tomb number 3, the South tomb. I feel the need to jump over this as if we're going to sink down in it, which of course we're not. And yet, I jump over it anyway. Okay. Investigate. The inscription on the tomb has been worn away by time, but
Lost
a few...
in the rite of Dividium Nava. Fallen on the doorstep of divinity.
More defenses?
We don't get to finish reading it. All right, we'll try and stick it up here in the corner.
Because this one was intended for me. Power flows to the weapon through the ritual relics. They must be disrupted.
Okay, so we gotta disrupt these 3 relics. Oh, they're puzzles. Yeah, so maybe while we're doing this, we can read the thing, because it is actually important. The inscription on the tomb has been worn away by time, but a few segments remain legible. For those honored souls lost in the rite of Dividium Nava, fallen on the doorstep of divinity, blessed Ancora that lifts, they have fallen that we might ascend. You cannot make out anything else. So that's going to make a lot more sense here in a few minutes, but it should be understood, even at this point, that we are at least talking about some sort of ritual, right? The rite of Dividium Nava. They have fallen that we might ascend. So that gives us some concept of the ritual. Oh. Well, I think there's probably an achievement for not messing that up, and I was not paying attention to what I was doing. So some sort of ritual
I'll break you down.
that involves ascension, right?
Hither.
And some have died doing this ritual. I think those are the things that we can definitively say without any sort of without any foreknowledge of what comes next in the story.
We heal as one. I'll break you to clear the air. Pound it into. Set him up for the kill. Strength of the pack. We heal as one.
You'll have to hit much harder.
Rip him up. Unleashed. We heal as one.
Hurts, doesn't it? Time to just feel the fury. They'll have to hit much harder.
Alright, thanks guys. No one has anything to say. Oh, I guess I can close that. No one has anything to say before I choose to talk to... Alright, let's talk to Isgarin. Now, Isgarin said something really important at the beginning of the fight, and I was trying to focus on the unread inscription. It would have been nice to have time to read that inscription before things just happened. Although here's the thing, like, I think there are relatively few players like want to read all the things, and truthfully, even I, on most of my like playthroughs, which like, well, in subsequent playthroughs, I will just ignore all that because I've already read it once. Even on my initial playthrough on my main account, I'll scan it without like reading all of it out loud, right? So I think they try to push the action really quickly without you having to trigger the action. But consequently, that means like for us, if we actually want to read that, then we have to contend with things happening while we read it. So Isgarin said, when the sword suddenly pops up, Rytlock says, more defenses? How did the inquest not set them off already? To which Isgarin responds, because this one was intended for me. That begs lots of questions, right? So it's definitely time to talk to Isgarin, and then also probably get into the Isgarin talk pretty soon. Isgarin, talk to me.
Getting pretty tired of the surprises.
Me too, Rytlock.
This ritual, it's what you used for the wizard's court, isn't it?
The rite I performed on my fellow wizards is a more subdued, precise version, but they are similar, yes.
And this Ancora it mentions? You know what that is too, don't you? And where it is, I'm sure.
It is the staff that the Rite requires, an object of immeasurable power. And no, I have not located it yet.
You knew this is what they were after this whole time. We've been fumbling in the dark while you kept this to yourself.
I did not know. I merely suspected. But if they are not seeking it, then better that no one else know of it either.
Have you forgotten Mabon's words already? From now on, if you want to be part of this, you give us the entire truth.
Surely we can at least save such ruminations for when we return to a safer location?
So I actually would have appreciated the commander saying, no, we cannot wait until we get to a
Just
safer
one more
location.
confirmation of how great
I think that would have been like a nice touch. So before we talk to Rytlock here, let's chat for a moment about Isgarin, right? So as long as we've known Isgarin, like, we've known that he's extremely powerful, and that's really emphasized, like, in Secrets of the Obscure, right? They really push that hard, that he built the Wizard's Tower. I believe he was the one who built the Wizard's Tower. Or certainly had a hand in it. I think Waiting Sorrow and Mabon may have had some role in that as well. I don't remember the exact details of that, to be quite frank. But, like, he was instrumental, at least, we'll say that, in building the Wizard's Tower. He's the one who ascended the other wizards. He's the leader of this wizard's court. He could have assisted with the dragons and chose not to. He was not single-handedly, but with the assistance of the wizards that he ascended, fighting off the Cryptists from invading our world. Like, all these things, he's presented as this tremendously powerful character, but also this very cryptic character that isn't forthcoming with much information, and so there's all this mystery behind him. And then finally, they have put forth some effort to show that he is a quote-unquote good guy. I think the Waiting Sorrow arc kind of demonstrates that, and what he does for Zoja. But they've also tried to cast him as kind of an anti-hero in a way, like an uncaring hero, right? So he's a good guy, but he's a good guy in a very callous fashion, kind of the ends justifies the means and so forth. And so now we get him, like, very explicitly holding stuff back from us and hiding, and we still don't have the whole story here. So now we know that Ancora was a staff that was used to ascend Seers through this ritual of Dividium, what was it, Dividium Nada or something like that? Dividium Nava. He himself describes it as an object of immeasurable power. And like so often happens in Guild Wars 2, these things, these objects of immeasurable power, remember the scepter before this was all very similar. And from this point forward in the story, by the way, there are immense parallels with the story that we just had in Janthier Wilds. And I'm not super disappointed because there are enough differences that it's fine. And like, I don't dislike the story in Visions of Eternity. I've quite enjoyed Visions of Eternity thus far. But it is worth noting the parallels and the differences, because as we move forward in the story, they are going to be more noticeable. It's really going to get thrown in our face. So, like, the scepter was just kind of hanging out, and then we find out, oh, Olivia had it a long time, and then the Wizard's Court have had it more recently, and it's just been tucked away. Don't worry, it was safe. And now we kind of get the same thing with this staff. So the staff was here for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And Isgarin has known that. And we'll learn some of why he didn't do anything about it. But at the same time, there have been opportunities. Remember, the Seers have also been gone for a very, very long time. And you have to wonder if at some point in time, it would have been prudent for him to come recover this staff, in spite of the difficulties. Aside from the commander, who is apparently a tremendously powerful person, having killed 6 dragons, a lich, a god, put down the Titan Rising, killed a Demon King, and whatever else. But aside from that, the rest of these folks are, relatively normal. I mean, I suppose Rytlock is like a legendary character, but could he not have come here with wizards and recovered this staff? So there is a degree of kind of what are we talking about here, right? Rytlock, do you have any thoughts on the matter? It's lucky for him that you're here. I'm not as diplomatic as you are. Well, I mean, I guess, Rytlock, but, it is still his guard. I don't know what you're going to do, make fun of him? What do you make of all this, Rytlock?
It seems like we found an answer, but bigger questions along with it. It appears that Vloxx is seeking to ascend like the Seers did, but we still don't really know why. Power is a means to an end, not an end itself. All we really know about his actual goals is what he's told you. I think he's telling you the truth, but implementing a noble vision is always where it falls apart. Maybe we can steer him away from disaster still. Maybe even bring down the inquest in the process.
So it's worth noting for the future of the game that the answer is obviously no and no, right? We don't need to know what happens next in the story to know that what Rytlock is proposing here of talking Vloxx down is not in the cards, and destroying the inquest is probably not in the cards. In the past, Guild Wars has struggled when defeating a faction of some sort to explain why that faction continues to be a thing. Rytlock, what's our next move?
Next, we get back to camp and ring Isgarin for every bit of info we can get. This Ancora is clearly essential to performing the rite, so we need to find it first. Once we have it, we'll have all the leverage and we can make things happen on our terms. We can decide on the specifics later, once we know more. No reason to rush those decisions.
Good plan. We'll beat the Russians to the nuke. That didn't actually help. I mean, I guess if the Russians are going to have it, we should too, but... Okay.
You're a quick study, Commander.
Are you planning to empower yourself like the Seers did?
In the short term, but not forever. I've no desire for power or legacy. It's enough that I do good, even if I'm forgotten.
And what would you do with that power?
I can't know exactly what the optimal strategy will be yet. The rite will give me insight beyond what I have now, and I will adjust my plans accordingly. But my goals will remain unchanged. I'm going to return control of Tyria's future to her people. The next generation of those like you.
I can't let anyone use Ancora, Vloxx. I've seen what power like this does to people. It's too dangerous. I need you to trust me. We will find a better way. We can keep Tyria safe together.
Very well. If that's how you see it, we will speak again soon.
Okay, so we got all that dialogue, which is kind of unfortunate because of when they start delivering it. You're right in the middle of, the basilica, and when you... So in our case, you can see the meta's happening right now. That second meta is happening right now, it looks like. And so we popped into a bunch of enemies, and that made it a little difficult. But I think we heard more or less most of what was being said. And it does feel a little bit like, once again, the commander's coming from a position of naivety. And we get a lot of good stuff from Vloxx, a lot of interesting stuff. This is a good time to bring up the Janthier Wilds thing. What is Vloxx proposing that is different than what Livia was proposing with the scepter? And with that in mind, the commander had the option of siding with Livia during that story sequence. So, and Livia was not portrayed as a bad guy. She was portrayed as like getting her wrist slapped for doing something that she probably shouldn't have done, and so she wasn't. Livia was not invited to a party. That was the consequence. And they suggested that she may do like jail time, which I don't know what exactly. Now, of course, her powers had departed with the scepter, like whatever otherworldly powers she had or whatever. So I guess now she's a normal person that can be, like put in jail, and that has consequences now that she's no longer immortal or whatever. But still, like, that was only threatened. I don't think we're under the impression it actually happened. And maybe later we'll get a story chapter where, like, oh yeah, Livia's in jail. But I doubt it. And what Vloxx is proposing is literally no different than what Livia did, but we treat it as shockingly different here. And that's kind of interesting to me, and also a little bit off-putting. While I enjoy the story arc in Visions of Eternity, or I enjoy kind of the direction they're going, that particular little aspect of it is not the most fun. Isgarn.
You should have told us at the start. I need answers, Isgarin. Now.
I thought Castora to be impenetrable to the inquest. Their goals futile. But this director is smarter than I anticipated. If he seeks Ancora, if he understands what it is and what it does, I dampen the memories of my wizards to ensure that they are of unbiased mind when they obtain that power. Vloxx would keep his. And this version of the rite is raw. It is how I ascended. It does not belong in the hands of a fanatic.
Then we need to find it before he does. You're Seer. Where's the staff kept?
I don't know. Entire eras have come and gone since I was last here.
Fine. If the inquest pushed this far into the forest, we know it's somewhere here or deeper inside. I'll check with PTM, too. He might know if they found anything.
Good plan. Talk to the robot. He'll know. That's not a bad look. Alright. Well, we're gonna... Should we talk to... Yeah, let's go talk to PTM real quick. Man, someone over there needs to calm down. Alright, PTM, how are you and Doggo doing? What's... Zeke, right? Is that... Yeah, Zeke.
PTM, have there been any updates on whether Vloxx has found... whatever it is he's looking for?
Most objectives are still listed as open, although a handful now say empty. We have not located the object. Perhaps the archaeological sites could provide more information for your search, Commander. Digging is a fun activity. Limitless potential for discovery.
Thanks, PTM. I'll do that.
Alright. Oh, is this the second collection? It is the second collection. Cool. So we get to do another collection. I had forgotten we hadn't done that yet, to be quite honest. But that's great. So when we come back, we will do another collection. Oh. Search Shipwreck Strand and Starlit Weald for clues to the hidden location. Okay, so it is a third collection. I couldn't remember if there were 3 or not. Great. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break here because I'm going to find a map for those because I'm not going to do it without a map. Again, I've done that once already, and as I recall, some of them are in fairly obscure locations. So, we have an understanding now of what Vloxx is after. He wants this staff. This staff will essentially allow him to ascend the way the Seers ascended. And the closest facsimile that we have to that currently in the world of Tyria is the Wizard's Court. So we have a vague understanding of kind of what Vloxx will experience and the power he'll gain. But his will be a different version and apparently more dangerous. In part more dangerous because he'll retain his memory, and I'm not sure exactly what that's meant to imply, but just the same. Bad, right? Bad things. And Vloxx continues to insist that it's for a good purpose, but the commander absolutely refuses to buy that, not having it. So I guess now we have to kill him, because that's how Guild Wars works. So, when we come back, we'll do a collection. And then we'll try to kill Vloxx because he doesn't get to do that. He's not one of our friends. Livy is one matter, but Vloxx is another entirely. Alright. We'll pick up there when we come back. Thanks.